Work's changing. Software and robotics are ushering in a new age of automation. In this age, there will be losers.
The machinery is actually starting to get remote controlled, which is just making things a lot worse and harder for us to find jobs.
And there will be winners.
I hope there will be more automation because that brings additional value to businesses and growth in the economy.
The rewards and losses will not be evenly distributed though, both socially and geographically.
I know for a fact in a couple of years, most factory work will be overtook by robots, which means there's going to be less people working, which means a lot of people's going to be out of work because of it.
But it's unstoppable, and it's driven by all of us, as businesses fight for the tiniest edge over their competitors.
Customers want reliable service, they want efficiency, they want the convenience, and that's what we're able to deliver here.
We carried out new exclusive research throughout the UK. The result maps the ghost towns of tomorrow.
The more automation we have, the less need there is for personnel. When I first started here, this room would be full and there'd even be people over there.
And there's one county the robots are coming for: Northamptonshire. Some automation will be slow, creeping through the whole economy. But other automation will be sudden and drastic in specific sectors, what's called cliff edge automation. Sky News worked with researchers Localis to paint the most detailed picture to date of automation in the UK. UK-wide, nearly 18% of jobs are at risk of cliff edge automation. But here in Northamptonshire, that number rises to more than 22%. Of the top 10 local authorities most at risk in the UK, 3 are in Northamptonshire alone, and 7 are in the Midlands more generally. And in Corby, as much as a third of jobs are under threat, the worst rate in the whole of the UK.
It's really hard, because obviously I don't like sitting at home. I prefer being out there working, because working just keeps my mind off a lot of things.
Reese is a 19-year-old who's worked in factories and warehouses around Corby for the last 2 years, getting short-term gigs through employment agencies.
Shall I take shoes off?
Yeah.
What sort of work have you been doing?
Wrapping and strapping, which is most majority of the warehouses I was doing, is wrapping and strapping, picking and packing, and that's it. The old factories, it was different. I was working in a factory. There was literally no machines, no nothing. It was just literally hands on. So it was just loads of us doing picking and packing and strapping and wrapping, which it was good that way because it was good without no machines there, because we all done it by hands. And then I moved back here and it's just to do with machines, after machines. I tried to apply for a warehouse and that, but it requires, the only job I was going was through the robots, which I had no idea because I ain't trained and I don't know nothing about them, which means I couldn't work there because I was not trained.
Do you feel like robots are taking jobs here in Corby?
Yeah. Obviously, my dad is not here because he's obviously at work, but he works 12 hours and he works on the robots. I know for a fact in a couple of years, most factory work will be overtook by robots, which means there's going to be less people working, which means a lot of people's going to be out of work because of it.
How worried are you for Corby as a town?
It is bad. It really is. Because there is hardly any jobs going.
When heavy industry left Northamptonshire and the Midlands in the 80s and 90s, a new type of work was needed. Lying in the middle of the country on major motorways, it became a distribution hub instead, with factories and warehouses. Those replacement jobs, though, turn out to be just as replaceable. Some industries are more at risk than others. In transportation, more than half the workforce will experience automation. For manufacturing, it's just less than half of jobs. And in retail and wholesale, 44% of jobs are at risk. One of the companies here, Festo, is itself pushing automation. In their centre, automated milking machines are assembled and dispatched to customers alongside automatic DNA sequencers. Scaled-down versions of automated factories like this one are used to retrain clients' employees for the future of work. Festo's managing director is a qualified engineer with 25 years' experience in technology and 2 degrees. Really, according to her, we should learn to stop worrying and love the robots. Ultimately, they'll bring more jobs.
I do believe there is scaremongering going on out there. I think it can be quite confusing for business leaders to decide what's right, what to believe, which claims are valid.
What do you think the sort of economy looks like in 10 years' time?
I think innovation, the pace of innovation is going to be faster than a lot of people expect, but the pace of adoption will vary. And I think that what would a factory look like in the future? Certainly there will be more automation. I hope there will be more automation because that brings additional value to businesses and growth in the economy. In terms of how people's jobs will change, looking at the systems that is behind us, there are ways that we can complement work and ensure that people become more multi-skilled without having to go through a lot of intense education because the systems and intelligence is there to help them to do a wider variety of work.
20 miles south from Northampton, in Milton Keynes, a new distribution centre is a glimpse of the future of work. Christine started here as an agency worker like Reese, but she's since been made a full-time employee.
Last 10 years I've been in warehouse, but never was like this. So clean, so nice atmosphere, all people friendly. We are working together. It's half-half. It's not only machine, it's not only human. So I think it's a really great place to work.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
All right.
Morning,
Christine's boss, Caroline, started at John Lewis in Milton Keynes 14 years ago, originally working in a store. She swapped the shop floor for the factory floor and has been here for 6.5 years now.
So we've got quite a few drops coming in later on that we need to just be aware of. It makes us a lot more efficient in what we do. Particularly when you think back to sort of if this was like a traditional warehouse or warehouses in the past, where you'd have a picker walking up and down aisles, fetching product. What this does is this actually just brings the product direct to the picker, making us a lot more efficient in what we do. I don't think you're ever going to move away from that human touch. I don't think we'd want to either. I mean, for me, the sort of the human touch really complements the automation. It doesn't replace it. Customers want reliable service. They want efficiency. They want the convenience, and that's what we're able to deliver here. And potentially in the future, it could reduce the amount of additional roles that are created. But what we are doing is ensuring that actually those roles that we do create have got much more opportunities.
Back in Northampton on a Saturday night. Payday on Friday means people are out and about. Automation will come in waves. Physical, low-skilled labour is most at risk as robots replace manual work. But the next wave is software, as automated systems take over cognitive functions too. This taxi company in Northampton has implemented automation in all parts of its business.
Are we going to... Can I put a postcode in?
Customers can order cabs using an app, voice recognition on the phone, or at a machine in the kiosk. The result is fewer humans and a lonely night shift in the taxi control centre.
Good evening, Bells. Chris speaking. How can I help? 8:10. Where would you want it from?
Chris helps run this taxi business, the oldest in Northampton. It was founded in 1958 as a family firm, but it's now owned by an automated software company. Chris started as a driver before moving off-road into the office.
How long have you been working in taxis?
35 years.
35 years, so you've seen a fair amount of change.
I've seen a lot of change, yeah.
What's been the biggest change?
Automation has been the biggest change.
Yeah?
When computers and things first came in and automated systems came in, I wasn't very keen on it. But within probably a month of systems being brought into where I was working, I loved it.
Hundreds of things going in. Previously that would have been people on the telephone with a pen and paper, writing it down.
It would have been, yeah.
So it's a lot quieter.
It's very much quieter, yes,
Yeah.
it is. You haven't got people shouting across the room. Even just 2-3 years ago, there would have been 10 people in this office on a Saturday night. Yeah.
And they're not here anymore?
Well, there's only 4 or 5 of us here today, so that's 50% less.
Is the future of this is just everything is automated? Do you worry that you'll be automated?
I think there's always going to be a need for somebody to be sitting here because there's the human element of the driver, so you need a human this end just to sort it out.
When we get driverless cars though?
Well, I might be in trouble then.
So, if you can hold on to your job or get retrained by your employer, you can ride the wave of automation. But some people are already being left behind by the next industrial revolution. If you don't have a job, like Reese's friend Sean, there's not much to do in Corby, except hang around the shopping centre. He's angry and he doesn't want to be identified, in case his opinions cost him a job.
The machinery is actually starting to get remote controlled, which is just making things a lot worse and harder for us to find jobs. It's going to cost them a lot more money to actually get the robots fixed when they can just get people.
I think humans work quite well.
Yeah, because we ain't got any wires in us. We're blood and bone and muscle, so we're just a lot easier to work. Even though they bring the robots in so it's quicker, what's the point in making something quicker when the robots could have problems?
The one thing young people kept telling us they needed was training, both from schools and employers.
Most factories work with robots. They should train us young people up while we're young. And then when the time does come, and most factories will obviously be overrun by robots, then us teenagers will not have no excuse not being in jobs. So we'll be in jobs, obviously training, working with the robots, but most factories don't do it. They just put you on whatever they put you on.
The point is, we're not powerless in the face of automation. We're not the inevitable victims of robots and their owners. Knowing where automation is going to happen, and happen soon, as our data shows, means we can take action, retraining current workers and young people. Work may be changing, but we need to shape that change.
The one thing, you never give up on what you dream of, obviously working. Jobs are hard to find, but people shouldn't give up that easy. We've got the ability and the rights to work. I ain't giving up.